What's up, fellow music-loving friends? Josh here with Runningscaredmotionpictures, and I'm beyond excited because I have a special podcast today. With me, I have...
Darren Schreplack of Love Scar.
And who do you have with you, Darren?
I have Jake Waxstein, our drummer, Elliot Judy, our lead guitar player, and Oscar Lohr, our bass player.
What's up, guys? It's good to have you on the podcast. We had to extend the set and do things a little bit different, but I think we got there. That peanut gallery sucks, dude. That's why I put them over there.
Some crowd over there, huh?
It's so good to have you on, man. We got to work on a music video together, and I actually filmed you guys doing some live stuff too.
Absolutely.
What do you have going on since then?
Right now, we have a whole national tour booked up and announced. You know, we're going all around the country from Massachusetts all the way to California at the Whiskey A Go-Go. And we're real excited. It's our first national tour altogether, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Tell me about Love Scar. How did it start? What is it? What's going on with this band right now?
So Love Scar, we're a hard rock band from Boston, Massachusetts. We all formed at Berkeley. And funny enough, it actually started with Jake, and he kind of had a thing in his Instagram bio, like, oh, I'm looking for a singer and guitar player. And I was like, that's kind of what I do. You know, why not? Let's try to figure something out. And
yeah, so before that, I had reached out to a couple people, actually Elliot being one of them, and I had a band in freshman year of college because I'm a year ahead of these guys, and we went through a whole semester, our first semester of college. We were all freshmen, and it was kind of the same deal. It was hard rock. We started with covers, and then we did originals slowly. We got a couple gigs booked, and then there was some drama in the band, like every band, and it broke up before our first show. And I was devastated. We had wasted that whole semester, but I was still determined to start a new band and everything. And so the next school year, I come in, I start reaching out to people. I reached out to Elliot, and then Darren reached out to me. He was like, hey, I'm interested. And we were like, all right, we got something going a little bit. And then we found Oscar, and it was just like, there was the spark. There was a spark there from the very first note that we played, and it's history.
Elliot, what got you into playing guitar?
Man, my parents, they always played tons of rock music all the time when I was little. And, so I got really used to hearing all that guitar heavy stuff. And then, funny enough, one of the biggest influences for me was seeing School of Rock with Jack Black. I love that movie. And I was like, man, I want to play guitar like I think it was Zach from the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to do that. And, the rest is history after that. I've been playing since I was 10 and just, now I'm here.
That's awesome. Oscar, what about you? What got you on bass?
So actually, I started out playing ukulele when I was about like 10 or 11, and I was playing in sort of a summer camp kind of thing, like School of Rock, but in the UK, because I was living in the UK at the time. And I was playing ukulele on stage with a bunch of other kids who were playing like drums and guitar, and I wasn't like, you could barely hear me in the mix because they were like overpowering me, and I just looked stupid. So my sister was like learning bass at the time because she had just picked up the guitar as well, but she was clearly more into that because she also did the same camp, and you saw her like playing bass, and she just wasn't into it. And so I thought that looks cool, and I tried it out, and I asked if like I could like use the bass for myself now, and like I could own it because like she clearly didn't like it. She said sure. So the first song I ever learned was Under Pressure, and then here we are like 9-10 years later.
I love that. Darren, what does music mean to you?
to me, man, music, it just really kind of speaks to me in a certain way. There's certain bands that you really kind of connect with and gravitate towards, especially depending on what kind of mood you're in. If you're going through something hard, you kind of listen to music that kind of resonates with that kind of stuff. And it's like you're feeling good, maybe you listen to some happier stuff. Because I have a lot of different influences. Obviously I love rock because that's what this band is. But, I love country. And honestly, after rock shows, I kind of always listen to anything but rock because that's like, I listen to country a lot of time, like Luke Combs and, Riley Green, those guys, and I don't know, it really connects with my soul and I love it so much. Nothing I love more than music.
When I was growing up, I tried to do some music. I played in some bands. I drummed a little bit, but I was bad. I just didn't have it. I practiced. It didn't click for me. It just wasn't the right thing for me. Got behind a camera and I found out what drew me in. But my dad has been a musician for a really long time, and I'm actually repping his shirt over here, Over and Out. My dad's band just does a bunch of charity events and stuff. So they just donate their time. Yeah, they're super tight now. They practice all the time. My dad plays guitar, who's like close to his 70s and just still gets up there and shreds, and like he's awesome. And then his bass player is this guy named Rick, they've been friends for like 50 plus years, and they've just always played music together. So it's super cool to see. So I support those guys a lot. I go out there, I try to shoot a lot of video and stuff for them. So Over and Out, I'm going to plug their Facebook and some of their info here. Go over and check them out because they're just doing a lot to promote music and to do stuff for a good cause. So check them out. Now that the shameless plugs are done, band, is there anybody over there that wants to answer what music means to you?
I'm about to go. Sorry. I went down the wrong throat with my water, and I'm like, hold it.
Oh, I thought you were going to call someone else.
No.
I would say music, to me, it encapsulates a lot of things. For one, it's an activity to connect with people. Even if you don't speak the same language, like, they say music is the universal language. And that, to me, that's totally true and valid, because I played with multiple people who there was a language barrier, but we just locked in immediately, just playing the music and everything. And it's also because we all, as a band, we all want to take Love Scar to as far as we can. We want to do this. We want to make this our thing. And so we want to use this band as a vehicle to live a life that very few people can say they have lived. Because at least for me, what I've wanted to do is play music and travel. And luckily enough, touring does both of those things. It checks both of those boxes. And so that's why we're so excited why I'm so excited specifically for this upcoming tour, because we'll be playing music for the first time, outside of our home region and everything. Even though we're all from kind of different parts of the country and the world and everything, we're going to be going through uncharted territory that we haven't been to. And so being able to really fulfill that dream and really take that step at such an early age is huge for me. And that's why, I love music so much, because it enables you to be able to do that.
It's awesome. So you guys all go to Berkeley. I'll leave this open to anybody that wants to answer it. What's the Berkeley experience like? Is it helping your music career? Do you feel like it's clicking with what you guys are doing, or?
I think it's a mixed bag for me personally. It is definitely a lot of work, like, so many people have said. And it can definitely take a toll, especially if you're kind of trying to also build a career simultaneously and not just do that immediately after you graduate. But I will say that for me, it's been unbelievably helpful, as much as I hate to admit it, for certain aspects of my time here. But it's like, I've learned so much about music, and not just like my instrument and like, theory, but also like the business side of things, and how to market yourself and how to look after yourself as well. And I think, that's really important to cover all those areas as a touring band that we're aiming to be, because it's not just about playing music. There's other factors that, play a role there. And so I think Berkeley is definitely an overload of work, and sometimes it definitely feels like it's too much and you sort of question why you're doing it all. But I think in the end, it does pay off. At least for me, it definitely has so far.
It's cool, but it's not worth $250K.
That's true.
That's on the cheap side of things.
Not much is worth the money that it charges anymore these days, I feel like.
No, especially, I kind of have a mixed reviews on the school, to be honest with you. It's like, in a way, it's the best thing to ever happen to me in my life, because obviously I met these guys and we formed the band, and, without that sort of, it's just like, without that kind of space for us to come together, Love Scar wouldn't exist. And it's just like, but then on the other hand, like the actual schooling aspect, it's like my first semester was great. Before Berkeley, I had no theory knowledge. I never went to any lessons for singing, for guitar, nothing. Totally self-taught my whole life. And it was the first time I really was able to get proper schooling for my craft. And I was able to kind of learn exactly what I was doing right and wrong, and able to tweak those to make me a better musician now. First semester, beautiful. Totally recommend every musician takes it, at least a semester. Everything past then, it's just been a lot of like really extensive jazz theory and whatnot, which for some people might not be bad, but you know, as a rock and roll guy, it begs the question, what exactly am I going to do with that? And, you know, of course, knowledge is power, but if I can't apply it, you know, it just doesn't make sense given the amount of money that it costs. You know what I mean?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And again, like we just said earlier, I mean, today you don't get value for your money often. So especially for a school to spend $250K or whatever it is, you know, you want to make sure that you're getting the top-notch experience. And so I guess you brought up a good point there. I mean, I don't want to say it's catered towards jazz, but you guys are like a rock band. And honestly, that was probably the coolest thing I thought about you guys. You had first reached out to me to do a music video, and I was slammed at the time. And I think I was like, you know, no, sorry guys, I don't have the time. And you reached out again. You're like, yo, please, we want to work with you, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm going to look these guys up and see what they're doing. And once I saw that you weren't like, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody else when I say this, but like once you weren't like a regular typical hardcore band, I was like, these are like young kids playing rock. I was like, this is super awesome. So like, that's why I was like, yeah, I called you back. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Like because again, I feel like a lot of kids your age, like, what are you guys, 20, 21?
Yeah.
Like most people your age aren't playing the type of rock that you guys are playing now. What made you guys want to play this music instead of something more, I guess, modern?
Well, I think that kind of stems from me starting this band because I had that the rock band that I was in from freshman year, and I just wanted to basically do it again because I always have loved rock. I mean, rock has been my number one genre, listening to it from basically when I was born to now. And so when I got to Berkeley, before Berkeley, I'd never had my own band. I had never written music before, didn't do anything. I was just playing covers. And when I got to Berkeley, I was like, all right, I want to start a rock band. And when that first one didn't work out, I was like, all right, well, I know it's possible. I just have to find different people. And so that's kind of why we're doing that. And we have, we started with a hard rock / like hair metal kind of sound and everything. And we've definitely transitioned to like hard rock and like grunge rock kind of thing. We experiment with some metal stuff because we all, like Darren is our kind of metal influence. Elliot has a lot of jazz theory and everything. And Oscar has a lot of like prog experience and a lot of just other mixed rock between all of us. And so rock is like what we kind of revolve around, I guess. But because we have 4 just drastically different musicians in the band, it really allows us to write music that none of us would have been able to come up with on our own because we're able to draw from each individual person. And that's what I love about this band, honestly, the most.
That was a banger answer. That really was. No, that was good. That was in depth.
Let's go.
Leave it in. Yeah, give the man credit when he needs it, you know? No, that's great. So, like I said, we had shot a music video together. Was that the first music video you guys had done?
As a band, yeah.
What was your experience like on the music video set? And be honest, you'd like, if there was something you guys didn't like, now's the time to air it out.
No, dude, you were an absolute pleasure to work with, and we have every intention on working with you again, assuming your time allows. You know?
Oh, I'll make time for you guys. I will.
That means a lot to us. Genuinely, we're very, very satisfied with the product, and we kind of had a little bit of a vision, but not exactly a vision of what exactly the finished product was going to look like. We had the idea of the car and the sex, drugs, rock and roll kind of thing, but it's just like what exactly does that look like? And that's why I remember when I told you, I'm like, we got the car, we got the girl. How do we put this into an actual like video? And you're like, okay, we'll do this and that. And like, you kind of helped plan out the shots. You did plan out the shots. And it really came together in a way that I'm very proud of and really thankful that you were a part of that with us.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. No, I had a blast working with you guys. That day was like, we had so much fun. We worked hard. We got some pictures. We got some video stuff. And it's just like, you guys gave me so much freedom. Like there was so much trust to just like, hey, we know you're going to make this look good. And I'm super happy with that video. I think it's one of the best music videos I've ever made.
No, we appreciate that. I don't believe in giving artists, I guess, a cage on especially things that I'm not proficient in when it comes to like filmmaking and whatnot. I know nothing about it. I'd love to learn. So if you ever have any lessons, definitely shoot me a message. But I know nothing about it. And it's like, you're the artist in the filmmaking sense. So let you do what you want to do, because obviously you know best. You're going to have the actual vision in your head and are going to be able to put that onto the video, unlike any of us would be able to do.
Yeah. That's what I love about being, I guess, an artist. I still have imposter syndrome. It feels weird saying that, but my favorite thing is even when I don't have a camera, I can walk into a room and I'm like, what would be my focal length? How would I do that all the time. So it's like when I shoot a music video, you guys had an awesome location right off the rip. We got to use 2 pretty cool locations. The car was phenomenal. Yep. And then the girl, Sophia, I've done music videos before where there's been like the hot chick. And a lot of times, honestly, like they're dull and they're not a lot of fun to work with. And it's like they're in the video, but they don't bring anything to it. I thought her energy, she killed it. I thought she really brought so much to the video, and she was a lot of fun to work with too.
I also want to give a shout out to Bert, our friend Stephen Donald Hebert, because he allowed us to use his studio for basically the half, if not more, of the actual video itself, with all the band shots and everything when we're playing. That is all Bert, and so we'll throw up his socials and everything like that, but just want to give a big thank you to Bert, and also to our friend Ben Cody for allowing us to use his amps and everything. We went and grabbed him from his parents' house, Greg and Bridget, and we grabbed their amps and everything, and it was an absolute huge help and to kind of filling out the stage and everything and giving us the stacks. It made the band shots look so much better. And we definitely just want to give a shout out to those guys.
And Mark Rogers for the badass 77 Firebird. And that thing, I love that car.
And he was such a cool sport about it too. We're like, will you burn out? He's like, yep. I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, he was so chill because I was like, I wasn't sure. I'm like, I don't know if we can ask him to do that. I'm like, I really want to because it's like sick, but it's not my car. You know, some people are different with that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, oh, yeah, for sure. I'm like, oh, right on. Sweet.
Yeah. What was the name of the song that we shot the music video for?
Untouchable.
Tell me about that song. How'd you guys write it? How'd you come up with it? And why was that the song you chose to do the video for?
So that song started, I had the riff. It was actually started with, I write almost everything in like a minor key and kind of like a sadder, more, I have a metal background. So of course that's kind of what I tend to gravitate to in terms of the sound and stuff that I write. And I was like, I want to write something in like happier, And so I started with that riff and the intro riff. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I had the chorus. It was originally like pretty Van Halen inspired with like the triad kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with or go with from here. And I had that, that triad like riff that's now the chorus. And I literally just had a voice memo, played it, and the chorus that you hear and the lyrics is exactly how it stayed. Not one thing changed with it. And as soon as I did that, I'm like, this song like has the star like single quality. Like I don't know what it is, but it like had that. And I remember it was like 1 a.m. I was texting Elliot. I'm like, you need to hear this. We need to finish this song like now. And I'm telling you, that song was written in 2 days. And it was, I'm sure Elliot can add more to that on his experience with that. But it was a very, very easy and fun experience writing that song.
Expand on that, Elliot. Tell us some more.
Yeah, Darren sent me that text message and was like, I have this chorus. And I'm like, okay, come over to my apartment and we'll work on it. So the very next day he came over and he's like, here, what do you got? And then the both of us wrote, every other part of the song. I think barely anything changed after what we did in my apartment that day. And then, we brought it to everyone else and everyone put their final touches on it. I mean, that was kind of it, some songs they just come together like that. Like it's just meant to be.
It's funny. When I shoot a music video, I normally have to hear a song a lot of times in a row. Typically, even by the end of the day, it's like, not that I'm sick of it, but normally I'm not pumped on it. By the end of this video shoot, everybody was like singing and dancing because everybody like got the parts. Like we just had so much fun. Like the song, it's catchy, it's fun, it pulls you in, it's rock. And then you also learned how to play an instrument just for this song, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I learned harmonica. Funny, my buddy Chris Sparky down, I used to be a mechanic and love Sparky. And for Christmas one year, he gave me, a key of C harmonica. It's like the standard that everyone kind of starts with. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And I started like screwing with it. My grandpa plays a lot of harmonica too. So I had some influence from him. And I'm like, this would be really cool to add to Love Scar. I'm not really much of a blues guy per se, but I started listening to some more blues records. And my buddy Mike Gill, he's in the band Beyond Purple, and he has a video of him like playing harmonica and stuff. And I'm like, damn, that's just so cool. And I sent him some texts. I'm like, how do you like do the bendy stuff? Like how do I make it sound like how you're doing it? And he gave me some tips and whatnot. He's like, just watch a lot of YouTube and just really practice on it. And that's just, I practiced a bunch, and the Untouchable intro. I just sat there in my Berkeley dorm room and I wrote out on like a little like napkin square because I didn't have any paper for whatever reason. A college kid that doesn't have paper, but on like a little napkin square, and I learned how to like read and write out harmonica tabs, and I was writing it and wrote it out that way. And I'm like, okay, this is really cool. Like the intro and all the other like solo stuff in the middle of the song was just improv on the spot, but it was just a really cool process and fun process of learning that instrument. I'm no professional by any means, but it's been a really fun learning curve that I'm very thankful to have partook in.
Band, how about you guys? Oscar, you mentioned you played ukulele and bass, but what about the rest of you guys? Is there any other instruments you play? Or Oscar, can you expand that? Is that all you play? Anything else?
I was always like a decent singer. Like I liked singing before that. And I was like still like quite into singing. Like around the same time I was like stopped playing the ukulele and like started playing the bass. I was still like very much into singing. My voice was my instrument. But in terms of the ukulele, I wasn't very into it. I was just like learning some chords that I didn't even have like memorized. It was like in a book. And the only like my mom literally had to say like, you can only play video games after you play ukulele for 10 minutes every day. So it's like, it wasn't good. This like career in ukulele playing wasn't gonna sustain if I like had to like be forced to do it, you know. But that's all my musical experience really. So it's like amazing to be in this band and like learn so much and just get so much better so quickly, you know.
So he wants to be very clear that he does not play ukulele. He doesn't want his street cred ruined over that.
Well, I don't care talking about it. I think it's funny.
I played ukulele at one point. I played it. I like had like a chord book and I like messed with it, but I was never.
It's a rite of passage, right? Everybody probably tries.
I can play Riptide,
What about you guys? Any other instruments?
I started with piano before guitar actually, because I wanted to start with guitar. Then my mom was like, "No, you have to learn piano first," and I still don't get that, Mom. But I
Shout out Denise
Shout
Judy,
out Denise
Sugar
Judy.
Hustle.
Yes, go to Sugar Hustle on Instagram.
Buy a cookie.
Yes, the cookies are awesome. But I had to do that for a year, and then I started guitar. And I wouldn't consider myself playing really any other instruments. Like I can fiddle on the piano. I can play some really, really shit drums, And, I do background vocals, but I wouldn't consider myself any amazing vocalist either. But, that's kind of, I just mess around with stuff. And, the music theory knowledge can get you a little bit into it, but not very far.
He's very modest. He's the brains behind all the band. We are all like cavemen compared to this guy.
I'm very flattered.
When I filmed you guys live, when you were going off on your solo stuff, like you pulled me in. It's so hard not to like, I don't know. It's like there's people that play music because they like it. And then there's people that play music because like they have to play music. And I just get that off you. Like it just oozes when you're up there. Like it's cool. It's good stage presence.
Thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into those solos. So I'm glad that people like it some.
Well, it's, you make it look effortless, but I know it's not. And that's the thing that's so impressive about it. And like, you're a young dude that looks like you're shredding like a 40-year-old that's been playing for, seriously. Like, well, I mean, you don't look like a 40-year-old, but you got that style. Like you got that, like that skill that just like, it shouldn't be there for somebody that's 20 years old.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
If you listen to Heel, that's my favorite song we've ever done. It's like the jazz kind of grungy thing. All that piano, that's him. Literally we sat there in Missouri recording it when we were on tour together, and they literally were just like going through and just trying things out. We didn't have anything written down because I don't understand theory like how he does. I'm like, oh, just kind of arpeggiate. I don't know, like you got it, and and whatever he did, I'm like, dude, that rocks. And he's so humble about it. He's like, oh, I'm like, dude, makes the song. Without that piano, he would not be as cool as I think it is.
Those are the textures. Soundscapes.
Oh, leave it.
I don't want to be controversial here, but without a doubt, your guys' best song is Taking You Down.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, so if you guys are like, damn, why does this song keep going up on our Spotify so much? It's because I listen to it on repeat when I'm writing all the time. And you guys were nice enough to let me, I have a short film that's going to be coming out where we have that song in it. And
You know that book is like gibberish, right? Like, oh, what's his name? Jim Jones, that guy.
You're actually kind of on screen for like a second, like on this like computer thing that's glitching out, but you're there.
I remember that. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
But,
and
yeah,
really flattered to be a part of that.
Can you guys tell me about that song? What was the motivation behind that? How'd that start?
So that one actually started with a riff that Jake sent into the group chat, and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. And I'm like, but there was a part, I can't remember exactly what part it was, and it might have been the progression. I can't remember. And I came up with like the intro riff, the dun, 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 like that thing, and I'm like, this is kind of neat. And I was in a heavier band at the time, and I was like, do I use this for my metal band, or do I? Because Love Scar wasn't taking that as serious at the time, and I'm like, this riff is really good, but I'm like, obviously, Jake started it. That's not fair to bring it elsewhere. So it's like, all right, let's build upon this. It's a little bit heavier, if you will, compared to the other stuff. Because at the time we had Another Day, and we had a couple other songs that, were just drafts that ended up getting scrapped. But there was a lot, wasn't as heavy, if you will, on that one. And we really built it. And I think that song in particular really helped us kind of figure out what we wanted to sound like as a band. I think that song really came together in a way that a lot of the other songs didn't, in the terms of the way that it just came together in a way that I really enjoy, and that's one of my favorite kind of sounds that we have. It's not too pop rock, but it's not metal either. It's hard rock, like, and it's just that kind of sound speaks to me. That's the stuff that I like,
When I listened to it the first time, so I make any bands that I work with send me their song ahead of time so I can listen to it. Like, I don't want to show up at the shoot and like that's the first time I've heard it. Like, I want to know the shots, I want to know the feeling, the style, the tone. But I normally don't get to listen to a lot of the other stuff, because it's like I'm busy. I try to get through it. But after I shot with you guys, I had so much fun. I wanted to go back and listen to your music. And when I first heard that song, the first thing that I thought is it had like a little bit of like Dio, like this, like just this good pickup that just like, but like this song just kicks ass. Like it really does. Like I literally rock out to it in the basement while I'm editing down here all the time. It's just like, I don't know, it hits just right. If you guys ever want to do a music video on that one, let me know, because I'd be willing to work with you guys on that to make that happen. You guys have some new music as well. Is there anything that's getting ready to get released, or where can people find it if it's already been released?
Yeah, so our second EP is recorded, and Elliot will be doing the mixing on that. He's in the progress, or he's progressing on that. And we'll send it over to Randy Ruse, who's a Berkeley staff member. He has a ton of accolades for mastering, and so we used him for the first EP, and we're gonna use him for this one as well. He puts out great work. He makes songs. He does justice for the songs and everything, and so that we're hopefully gonna have that released before our upcoming summer tour, which we'll get into and everything like that. But yeah, these songs really kick ass, and I think it's kind of. We've come to the consensus that overall, we really think that the second EP is better than the first one. A little controversial. In my opinion, I agree with that because it is, I love these songs. Not to say that, we don't like the first 5, but these ones, between the first EP and the second EP, you could just tell like the growth in songwriting and musicianship and everything. Darren's lyrics are fantastic on these next 5, and we love playing them. We're really excited to show them to people, and we hope that that they really resonate with our audience.
I did the tour with Darren over the summer, and it was a ton of fun. And he stayed at my parents' house with me in Missouri. But I also, in high school, I was part of a group called MJ the Illusion in Branson. If you haven't seen them, you should go check them out. Those guys are my guys. But over that, we went to Canada for a little while, and we toured quite all over the place. And it just gave me a lot of experience, just like Darren said, with the thing we did in the summer too. It's just all that knowledge and experience really is going to help us on this tour in the summer, so we can have just great shows all around.
I'm glad that you brought up tour. So actually last night, I just went and saw Poison the Well at the Palladium. They have been a band since 1997. They just recorded their first record after 17 years. And it was amazing. I went with my nephew and my buddy, and it's funny because my nephew, I think probably like back in like 2006 when he was a little kid. Like I was in like bands and stuff. Again, terrible. I'll probably put in some clips so he can laugh at me. But he did this like little singing thing. Like he was this little tiny little pumpkin headed kid, and we called it Colin Hardcore. And he's just like yelling into the mic, and he's got knee pads on, and like he's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. But now he's like this full grown adult that like. We were at the show last night in the pit together. I injured my foot because I have no business being in the pit at 40 years old. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I literally think I was hit by a car, dude. I just don't move like that anymore. I'm like, oh my God. But it was like, I watched this band and like for me, I don't know if I'm ever going to get to see them again. You know, it's like when I saw that they were coming around, I had to jump on that. And, you know, you brought up the touring and stuff like that. I wonder what it's like for those guys, you know, because they've got to be close to 50 years old now, like going around touring and stuff like that. And I would imagine over time, for me, when I was younger, we used to have so many more venues than there are now. Like we had MSC, which was Mass Skate Co. It was in a few different places, but it ended up at the Hampton Ponds Plaza. So they used to have bands all the time. Not only would the bands be playing, but you'd have like dudes skateboarding over here or doing BMX over here. And it was like this whole culture and like everybody just got pumped on it. And like, it was before cell phones and all that stuff. So like when you went and saw your friends, like you were so focused on the music and every single thing going on. And for me, I was into the punk stuff really early on. Misfits were a band. Green Day was probably the first band that I remember like liking is like not because my parents listened to it, but something that I liked. And I started like going to a bunch of punk shows, and then I started like getting to more hardcore stuff. And then I found Poison the Well, and I've been a fan for quite a while now. Again, I mentioned that like things have probably changed, tours has changed, things like that. What has been your guys' experience with the music scene right now? Do you feel like there's enough venues to play? Do you guys feel like you get enough exposure? Was this tour easy enough to set up, or do you feel like it's getting harder as time goes by?
Well, Darren and I have been kind of taking lead on the tour booking. And Elliot and Oscar have gotten a couple gigs and everything, but Darren and I have definitely been just email blasting venues and bands and everything, and it has not been an easy task to book this tour, let me tell you. We've probably, combined as a band, probably sent out close to maybe 200 emails or something, at the very least, and, only so many get back to you, and most of them are no's for various reasons and everything. And this isn't just booking in like our home state. Like this is throughout the whole country. We're trying to, book the itinerary and find the best route to connect all these shows and everything. But definitely it has not been easy, but it's definitely very rewarding because, with all these venues saying no, it makes that one yes like that much better. And then we can start reaching out to bands. Oh, who wants to be a part of this show? And, this being our first tour as Love Scar, it's a very special experience, and we want to include as many bands and as many people as we can because it's such a significant thing for us. It's our first tour, and like it'll be the first of many, hopefully, and it will definitely be a blast. But it wasn't luck. Definitely, we definitely have been on the grind, and it'll be a blast. We're very excited for it.
Yeah, to kind of add on to that, a big idea that went into this tour was kind of setting up with other bands throughout the country because, of course, Love Scar, we're Boston based. We've never traveled. We don't have a ton of pull in the middle of the country. But it's like if we can work with some other bands and kind of hook up with them, that can help us grow our following and exposure and actually create an audience in those parts of the world. And it's just all a big part of growing what this is and really trying to make it become our main thing. We all are so dedicated. This is what we love. This is what we want to do. We love performing. We love touring. We love writing songs. There's nothing about it that's bad. Some bad apples here and there, of course, but that's the music industry. But that stuff aside, just the actual being in the band aspect is just the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm sure I can speak for everybody, and that they probably feel the same way.
Yeah. I try not to go like negative with anything, but I ask about like the state of the industry now because again, I brought up, there was Mass Skate Co, there was the Flywheel, there was the Fat Cats, and then Cats Alley, like all these different places. We had a place in Palmer called The Shed, and as those seem to dry up, it's like, what's the incentive in today's day and age for a 14-year-old kid to pick up a guitar and learn how to play? Because it seems like the venues that you can book are like 21 plus. So like what, you're not going to play out until you're 21. Am I wrong? Are you guys finding venues out there? And if you are, please shout them out now because I want people to know where they are.
There's a lot of different spots, and there's a lot of spots that, like you said, have also shut down. There's Geraldine's, and that was kind of where I got my start, actually, in Chicopee, Mass. And I was really devastated when that kind of shut down. But a big thing, too, with being a young band is that a lot of promoters, they can be hard to take you serious without actually hearing you. They're like, oh, you're a young band. Like, they don't even give you the time of day. And it's like, just listen to our stuff. Just give us a shot. Listen to it, and then make your opinion. And usually 9 times out of 10, when they hear our stuff or see us perform, they're like, wow, that's not what I was expecting. And that's like, it's kind of I don't want to call it a backhanded compliment, but it's like there's a lot of, I guess, not to be a prick, but mediocre younger bands. And I don't want us to kind of, we work really hard on this, you know what I mean? And I think that just because we're young, that time that we put in should be disregarded. And I think a lot of even the really good young bands have that same problem. It's just getting that initial start. But once you kind of break through, it becomes so much easier. And we're just really trying to work towards that point.
Do you feel like the age, like, are you getting more 21 plus shows, or can you get in places that are like still 18 or?
It kind of depends, certain bars are cool with it and others aren't. It's kind of a trust thing there, of course, with the liquor license and whatnot. But we're good guys. We don't drink. We don't do none of that stuff. Rock and roll band that doesn't drink. But it's I don't know. It really just depends on the place and who's running it.
What about you guys? Any places that you could recommend or shout out for like younger bands that are trying to get started that might want to book a gig?
Boston area, because that's kind of, other than this tour, like that's kind of where we've been shooting, and trying to get gigs there. Obviously the Middle East Club is like the hot spot for Berkeley students because there's multiple venues within the same building. And I think most, if not all, are 18 plus. And so, by college, you're either 18 or just turned 18 or about to, whatever. And so at least for Berkeley, that's another, and we're playing that in a week maybe or something. And so that's been a great spot. I played there, I want to say a couple of years before I got to Berkeley with a School of Rock program that Elliot was talking about earlier. Just my region. But I mean, it kind of all depends because we're invited to some shows and we have to kind of work for other ones. And we're playing like a festival down in Decatur, Alabama this summer. And that's like all ages, and some are free and some have cover charges. So it's kind of usually what I have been doing is just looking at the venue's website to see if it's even kind of worth it. But definitely like what Darren was saying, it kind of all depends on the venue, and you could be given a gig by someone who has an in there or whatever. But yeah, it really definitely depends.
One of my favorite questions that I ask on the show all the time, typically we do a filmmaking podcast, but it's like I like to, get this question out there. If there was somebody new that was thinking about getting into music in this case, what would you say to them? What would be your advice?
Practice. Just really master your craft and take it serious, because there's a lot of guys where they pick up the instrument and, they play it for a week and then they set it down and never touch it again. It's like, if you really dedicate yourself, and this isn't just music, if you really dedicate yourself to something, you're going to get better at it. Of course, like, it sounds like common sense, but a lot of people, they just really don't apply themselves 100%. There's a lot of people, you ask them, when was the last time that you've really given 100% into something, whether it's music, whether it's, cars, just because that's where my background, like, if you give 100%, you're almost guaranteed to get some kind of good outcome from it. And that's what I believe.
What about you guys? Any information for people trying to start out?
I would actually say something sort of different from that. I would say that if you want to get into music, like, you should set expectations for yourself that you feel comfortable meeting, and like remember why you wanted to do music. So like, I think like if you get into music and you want to like be famous, then go for that. But it's like, if you want to just like play play weekends, be a weekend warrior, or just like join in on a gig or two, like just do that, just like kind of, I don't know, I would say like, don't set expectations for yourself too high, But if that's what you want to go for, then definitely go for that, because you're just more likely to go for it anyway because you're interested in doing that. But if you feel perfectly comfortable, like, not maybe, putting your whole like life into it, then that's perfectly fine too. It's like knowing what you want to get out of playing music is really important, I guess, going into it. Even when you're like just starting out and you already have like these huge sort of dreams.
Do it because you love it, like if you want girls or money or fame, there's easier ways to get that, man. Like, like everyone who does music and is doing this like seriously, they love music, and that's really the most important thing. You should follow your passions and what you love, and don't don't settle, do what you love and do it because you love it.
I'm gonna agree with both of them and kind of combine their answers. Definitely remember why you got into it in the first place, because that you didn't have any skin in the game before you had that moment. Like Elliot and I had the same thing where we watched the movie School of Rock, and that like we in that moment we weren't like, oh, I'm gonna do music so I can make money or get famous or whatever. Like, oh, that is a great, like, that is the life that I want to have, kind of thing. And you kind of have to hold on to that, because yeah, there's highs and lows to this whole thing, whether it's like tour booking or practicing or dealing with people or whatever. But you got to remember why you love music in the first place, and then it becomes a question of how bad do you want to get where you want to go, because that's kind of something that we've run into with a lot of other kind of bands in the scene, specifically at Berkeley, where everybody says, oh, I want to be famous, I want to have my music heard by so many people, I want to make money, whatever. But they kind of only focus on like the songwriting or social media or something. But it's something that we have definitely started to learn, is that you have to put effort into everything else that comes with just the songwriting, whether it's like the socials or networking with other bands, or Darren made our EPK, or like doing your website and everything. And that's kind of something that we have noticed with all these Berkeley bands, specifically at least, is they say they want it, but they don't take the steps to get there. And then you kind of don't really take them seriously anymore. But that is why we're trying to set ourselves apart. And we want to really take this pretty far. And that's why we put so much effort into all the other aspects that come with being in an original band than just, say, the songwriting, which obviously we do put a lot of effort into that, but it's not the only thing. And that is something that I definitely think that a lot of bands kind of forget about.
I think I find that with pretty much all the arts, to be honest, because it's the same thing in filmmaking too. I call them henny pennies, right? They want to eat the bread, but they don't want to help make it. It's like everybody wants their name on the credit. They want the fame. They want the glory. They want all the things that they think they're going to get, but they don't want to be on set for that 14th hour getting eaten by mosquitoes, but you have to get this shot and your arms are shaky and you're tired and you haven't eaten, but like, this is the time that you have to get it done.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's not the same for you guys, but I have to imagine when it's recording and you guys are on like a tight timeline, like you have to get certain stuff done. So it's like, it is glamorous in the way of like when you get to walk out on stage and have like, that time, or when you get to play your record back. But there's so much more that goes into it. And I think that's what people don't understand. We bring up the social media thing, and what really shocks me is I was shooting a lot of wrestling. These guys, like, they're their own individual walking billboards, and it's like, they don't even promote the shows that they're on half the time. Like they don't like it. They don't comment. And it's like, if you don't put people in those seats, how do you think eyes are going to get on you? And again, what people don't understand is like social media is such a big part of this game. So like, I encourage you, if you see these young kids out here that are doing something awesome, they're playing great music, they're doing something different than everybody else, go to their Facebook, go to their Instagram. They're all going to be linked. Take the time, leave some comments, like, share. Go on their Spotify, let it play in the background. Like, that stuff helps the artists out so much. It doesn't cost people anything to support us. And it's like, it's crazy. I'm lucky. I have a good group of like friends and family that really do support me and stuff, but it's just like a click, a share, a like, a comment goes so far with what we're trying to do.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I'll go around. We haven't gone around yet, but I want to give each of you an opportunity. I'll start with you. Tell me a favorite story, or just a good story, funny story, whatever type of story you want about the band.
Can I talk about, like, does it have to be like a funny story about the band?
Any
or can
story,
it
just
be...
give me a story that like resonates with you.
I'd say the biggest thing for me was probably my growth as a vocalist would be my biggest thing, because, you know, I was more of a heavier singer before Love Scar, and I always loved rock. I grew up around rock bands. I grew up opening up for rock bands, and it was just like, man, I want to do that. I want to do that so bad, but it's not that I don't love metal and my influences and where I came from, but it was just like, I loved Steven Tyler, I loved Axl Rose, but I can't hit those. No, I couldn't do that at all, not even a little bit at the time. And the biggest part for me, this was before Berkeley, but my old band, we used to do You Really Got Me by Van Halen. And he does a lot of those like high screech things. And I was trying so hard to like replicate it, or like at least get kind of close, like get that higher part of my register. And it was obviously in a more heavier, I guess, context. But I was kind of getting there. I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I still can't sing rock, but I can make some of the sounds, and I can pretend to sing rock a little bit. And, you know, I get to Berkeley, you know, Love Scar forms, and I'm like, I'm going to try this. I don't know how good at it I'm going to be, but we're going to give it a shot. And we did, you know, some Rat songs, some Van Halen, you know, some Guns N' Roses. And I was really down on myself about it. I'm just like, I'm not good enough to do this. I can't do it. You know, I don't know this kind of music. Like, I just can't do it. I was so down on myself, so super closed-minded about it. And I kept talking to Jake, of all people, and I'm like, that sounded really mean. I was talking to
me, I guess.
I was going on a bunch of walks with Jake, and I was just like, man, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do this. Like, and he was just like, no, dude, just like stick it out. I'm like, you'll find someone better than me. I promise you can find a better singer here. And they're like, no, just stick it out. Just keep trying it. And I'm like, all right, fine. You know, I watched a bunch of Chris Lipe videos. That was my favorite, like, YouTube vocal coach. And I'm talking, I'd be in a practice room from like 8 to 3 a.m. like every day, just grinding, just making sounds, trying to figure it out. Because a big thing as a singer that he taught me is just making sounds is really how you start with finding those higher resonances in your voice, and, you know, where it resonates in your face and your body and whatnot. And doing that really helped, and slowly it started to sound a little bit better. And I'm like, okay, you know, it's kind of coming together. You know, we did a couple live shows, and I was like, you know, I some of the songs were great, and other ones I was like, those ones definitely need work. And that's why I always like to record performances and watch them back, and you can really see where you need to grow. And I really learned where I needed to grow, and I really pounded those areas. And right now I'm at the point where I can comfortably say I'm very confident and comfortable with how far my voice has come. Obviously, there's always work to be done, and I have a lot to learn and go towards, but I'm really proud of all the progress that I've made, because it's been a really long and tough journey, really, especially like mentally and physically. It's been a lot, and I'm really proud of how far it's come.
And you should be, man. You guys sound great.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
And also, you know, in terms of like my teaching, you know, my vocal coaches, Naomi and Cassandra, have been just absolute pleasures to work with. And they've really helped me become the singer that I am today. And just the confidence in my voice that you need, especially in this genre. You know, if you're not a confident singer, it's impossible to, especially rock specifically. Obviously, you have to be confident in any genre you sing, but rock, if you don't have like the balls to the wall, like hell yeah mentality, if you will, you'll never make it as a rock singer or frontman. It just doesn't work.
I would say my favorite memory in this band was shooting the music video with Josh, because it was a long ass day. It was a lot of work, but it was so rewarding. It was so fun. We had a great time. We got some food. We hung out. We had off time. We had on time. We took a bunch of pictures. It was so fun. We got up at the ass crack of dawn, and Darren and I were staying at my parents' house at the time. And so we got up, drove to the Riverside T-Stop in Newton, Mass., picked up Sophia Laurie, who was the girl in the video. Shout out to her. And then Oscar and Elliot as well. And then the five of us, we drove to our friend Bert's studio. And again, shout out to him. We drove to the car shot first. And we did all the car scenes outside. We met Josh. He got his vision in our head and everything like that. And we're like, all right, let's give it a shot. Let's start shooting stuff. See what happens, see what pops out. And we're very proud to have that finished product. And so we did all the car stuff, and then we moved to Bert's studio. We started setting up the drums and the guitars, the amps, everything like that. And, you know, we got food. We had on time and off time. We shot some pictures. It was like just shooting the shit. It was so fun. It was a long day, but, you know, we returned all of our equipment and everything, drove back to Boston, And again, really long day, but it was so fun, and it was the first, I think for most of us, was the first music video that we've ever been a part of. So it was great.
Also, shout out to Sophia Laurie Blues Band. You can find them on Instagram.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they kick ass.
Playing with them at the Middle East on May 20.
No, April 26th.
April
26th.
Jesus,
Couple weeks,
I got my
couple
dates
weeks.
way off.
My favorite memory from this band is probably just writing Heal, honestly. That's just, like I was saying earlier, that's just one of those songs that just came together. I remember I had just gone to the doctor to get a wrist injection because my wrists are fucked up. And so I couldn't play guitar. But I came to practice anyway because I can't remember the details, but I think we were still gonna write stuff. And I came in and I was just sitting there, hanging out. And then we haven't started a song with Oscar playing like an Oscar riff yet. So like, Oscar, play something. And then he
Were we
just
just like jamming? It was like jamming 6-8
like
or
jam.
something.
yeah, it's like, and then Oscar played that thing, and we're like, oh, this is cool. And then Darren just started, just singing some stuff over it. And then he thought it'd be really funny if he just turned on distortion and just like slammed power chords descending chromatically. It's like, haha, funny.
It literally started as a joke.
Yes.
It literally did.
and we're like, wait, that's kind of cool. Maybe you should do that actually. And then, kind of messed with that more. And then we're like, we need a chorus. And I was sitting there, no guitar. And I'm like, wait, play F major with the B and E string open, and G major with the B and E string open, and A minor, and do that. And then they played it. And it's like, oh, dude, we got it, bro.
Did.
And I mean, the rest is history. I mean, for like, if you've listened to the song, which you should, that's kind of that's the core of the song. But then from there, I mean, we added all the embellishments. And then, like Darren said, we were in my house for Missouri for that tour, and we like, I just laid down some of the piano parts and just messed around with all spacey stuff. And, the Heal solo is my favorite solo I've wrote. I think it's good. I think
It's all right.
it's all right. And that song, it's just magic. And, it's really easy nowadays to lock yourself in your room behind your, FL Studio and BandLab and just, write songs by yourself in MIDI in your dark room at 3 a.m. But like the magic the magic happens when you're in a room with other people and just making music and creating art and expressing yourself. And I think Heal is just a great example of that all around.
How about you, ukulele Oscar?
Little male.
Leave it there, bro. Leave it there.
Well, now I have a new nickname that's going to stick with the rest of my tour. So.
We're gonna call him that the rest of the tour, by the way, just because of that.
Thanks, Josh. Anyways,
I'll give you more screen time in the next music video. Sorry.
I'm joking.
I'm
just joking. Okay. I would say honestly, my favorite memory of the band and like so far has been just every time we've like sort of listened to tracks like together, but like as we're making them, but also like recording vocals. I think also like hearing it like really come together, in Logic is great. And so we're all in the same room and we all have that kind of shared energy and excitement. And that's always really special. I would say also just like, and like, sort of connecting to that, like hearing the sort of, close to final mixes of these songs that we're like so used to hearing kind of, live, and like hearing how it sounds in the studio, or just like not necessarily live, but like also during rehearsal, but like just hearing it really come to life is always like special for me. And, I treasure those moments in this band.
I would also add to that since Elliot does a lot of the engineering and the producing and stuff, that we have, the drums are recorded first, and then we have like the bass next, right? And then we have the rhythm guitar stuff, and then the leads go over it, and then the vocals, and then after everything is done with that, Elliot, since he's kind of in charge of that whole thing, he'll sit at home and he'll add all these layers and this crazy, like this texture stuff and the soundscape that like it just gives this song like like the other three of us probably wouldn't have thought of that, but it just gives these songs a new layer, and it gives them another challenge on how to recreate it live and everything. But overall, like adding that just extra little bit here and there, it's just like it totally adds so much to the songs.
Thanks.
No
Oh,
problem.
you're welcome.
Now, as a band, what is the like most important things people can do to help you guys out? What are you guys looking for? Is it Spotify listens? Is it venues? Like, what are you guys needing as a band right now?
I wouldn't say there's anything really super in particular, but just supporting us as a band, obviously listening to our music, checking out our social medias, maybe coming out to a show, come say hi at the merch table, maybe get a shirt, just anything like that really helps us out a lot in supporting us and really making our dreams, excel to where we want them to be.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Listen to Heal by Love Scar.
It's true. Yeah, definitely like, especially at this stage when the venues that we're playing are very accessible and, they're not these huge stadiums where the artist is super separated from the audience and everything. But like all the shows that we're playing, you can stand right up to the front of the stage and we want to meet you after. We want to say hi. We want to create that connection. And, you could be one of the very first few very loyal fans, basically, and you can tell that story. And we're no better than anybody. We want to make friends, and we want to, you scratch our back, we scratch yours kind of thing, and you never know what kind of connection that's going to make.
I like that. Jake, this question is going to be for you because you're clearly the most organized out of this whole band, and you'll answer this the best. Talk about your tour.
So this tour was actually, it was Darren's idea. He was like, we got to, either we're going to write or we're going to take this tour. And definitely we kind of all agreed on like the tour would definitely be the best for kind of where we're at right now and everything. And since we're in college, we have a roof over our heads, we have full stomachs and everything. Why not just take the risk right now while we have the safety net, being in school? Like at the very least, if nothing else comes out of this tour, we can say that we did it. And it has all the other lessons that that we learn with touring and the life on the road thing and all that stuff is, even if this band breaks up, we will all be able to take different things out of this tour, and it will really help us just in life later, no matter what we're doing as jobs or whatever. But the whole tour booking aspect has been the biggest challenge for us, and the communication with people on, sending information that we need and getting information about the shows. But we've had a ton of support from our friends and family. We have a lot of our parents actually are coming and kind of following us to some shows like down in Alabama and Georgia and Nashville. We'll be hitting all those places, but they're getting places to stay along the way, and obviously we're very thankful for that. But it's just kind of a funny story of how they're like, yeah, like you guys are going on tour, like we'll come see all these random shows across the country and everything. So it's great, but it has certainly been a challenge, but it'll be very rewarding.
Shout out to mom and dad who are flying in from London to see us for a couple shows, which is amazing.
100%.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting me and supporting the rest of the guys.
Love you, Fred. Love you, Allison.
Yeah, Jake, I want to shout out your dad too. He reached out to me to get the live performance done for you guys, and there was a couple times throughout the time, like I saw where he was sitting, so I was trying to shoot it where it was like you could see him in the shot, just like enjoying you guys, like through and through. So shout out, I was cool. I really enjoyed getting to go down and do that and making these guys look good. So
absolutely, yeah. He's
whacked.
Yeah, David Waxton. He's put a lot of time and effort into us. He's fronted us some merch money. He's offered us a place to stay, and my mom too, Anya Robinson. Like we use their house for recording drums. Like we set all my drums up in the basement, and we mic everything out. We stay there for the weekend, and we use it as a place to rehearse before a show, kind of near there and everything. We store all of my drums and all the merch stuff there. Like we definitely would be spending a lot of money on storage units and everything if we couldn't put all of our equipment there. So definitely shout out to them. And they've been around from the very beginning. They saw me do that whole first band in freshman year and have that whole thing blow up in my face, and they've been a huge support since then and since the start of music and everything. So definitely shout out to them.
Is there anything that anybody would like to add before we wrap up here?
We'll be hitting the road this summer on national tour, and tickets for that are on lovescar. We'll be hitting the road this summer on national tour. You can get tickets to that at lovescarband.com. Maybe we're coming to your state or a venue near you. Like I said before, we're starting in Mass and making our way all across the country to California. So anything you can do to help support us, we'd really appreciate.
An interesting little side note to anybody that watches this, you guys are leaving here and you're going to play a show.
We are playing a show in 3-ish hours of U Street Tavern with my buddies in Rated M. And funny enough, I'm actually filling in on bass for that show as well.
That's why I asked if Oscar wasn't coming when I saw you were filling in for bass. So that's why I thought, like, if you were wondering why that was weird.
No.
I was like,
Rated M, I had to learn a hour and a half set in 3 days.
Wow.
So if I look tired, it's because I am.
That's awesome.
But we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. I'm real excited.
This is Lovescar. Check him out and support him. Great young guys doing great, awesome stuff. Until next time, stay safe, stay creative.